Good afternoon. Hope you're having a great day on this glorious October fall day. So many of you have seen the news in the last few days about the shocking story that took place in Pennsylvania on a train at 10 p.m. last week, I think Wednesday night or Tuesday night, when a young woman who was on the train was raped by a homeless man who happened to be on the train for 45 minutes. 45 minutes at 10 p.m. And there were other people that were on the train, and none of them did anything from stopping him to calling the police until after 45 minutes, one of the conductors came onto the train and saw what was happening and stopped it. And this week, the police and the DA's office in Pennsylvania said that they have watched footage of this horrific scene and have watched the way people not only were just standing there, but some people were maybe videoing what was going on without one person even calling the police. And they said they're hoping to be able to try and charge some of the people to the Good Samaritan Law. What's the Good Samaritan Law? In many states, the way it works is they want to encourage people not to stand by when there's a tragedy or travesty happening. So they tell you what happens if, heaven forbid, someone gets into an accident and he breaks his neck and he's lying on the floor, and you try to help them, but when you actually move them, you injure them more, and then they could go out and sue you. So the Good Samaritan Law tells you, you go do your best and we will protect you. Don't worry. It also states in some states that if you watch an atrocity happening, you don't try to help or stop, you could be charged. But Pennsylvania doesn't have such a law, and therefore they're not sure they're going to be able to charge them. But it made me think about the conscience of these people, and many people who might have stood on a train and watched, or sat on a train and watched something so atrocious happen, and never mind to stand up and to get involved, which maybe you'll get hurt, maybe you'll get injured, but at least call the police. And then I contrasted it with this week's Torah portion, when we read about the first Jew and Jewess, Abraham and Sarah. Last week we get introduced to Abraham, but it's this week where we find Abraham active and standing up and being the voice to protect those that need protection. If it's at the beginning of the Torah portion, when he goes to bad in negotiations with God and says, God, why will you destroy Sodom and Gomorrah? Maybe there will be 50 or 40 or 30 or 20 or 10 righteous people. Maybe save the cities. And he negotiates. And then later on, of course, he runs to save. Earlier in last week's Torah portion, he went to save Lot from the kings. And there's something interesting that happens later in this week's Torah portion. When the whole city of Sodom and Gomorrah are destroyed, the Torah tells us, and Rashi comments, why were they all destroyed? Not all of them were the ones that were killing and butchering and being mean. And Rashi gives the answer, because they weren't standing up and they condoned it by not opposing it. You know, in Judaism there's such a law called Lo Sa'amod al Dam Re'echa. Don't stand by idly while your sister or brother's blood is being spilled. In Judaism, we learn from the first Jew, Abraham and Sarah, that you don't watch injustice happen and stay quiet. The essence of what it means to be a Jew, the essence of what it means to be of the children of Abraham and Sarah, is to stand up even when it might cost, even when it might be challenging, even when it might be painful, but to stand up for what's right. And that's what Jews have been doing for thousands of years since. We've been standing up, let our voices being heard, and we've been counted every time and again when there's been a crisis. And it's something that we need to learn in America. It's not the first time we've seen a story where someone was beaten or hurt or raped, and people literally just watched or walked by without saying anything. If you want to be the children of Abraham, if you want to impact the world, you need to be loud, you need to be unequivocal, you need to stand up for justice, even when it's not worth it, even when it's painful, even when it's costly. God bless you. We should never have to deal with such tragedies, and we should learn and be inspired by Abraham. to have a loud, clear voice that stands up for justice now and again, no matter where, when, and what, to protect those that are vulnerable. God bless you.